Hello again. Welcome to a very special edition of Drive Home Reviews. Not just because, yes, I have finally seen a good movie in 2018, but because this is birthday week here at Drive Home Reviews. Yes, this week I will celebrate the beginning of my final year in my 30s, and as with all things here at Drive Home Reviews, I will handle this transition with the wisdom and maturity that I have gained over this past almost decade. Yes. The Donatello. So you can always see Chewie and Mr. Chirpy are also celebrating. Let's Frank Sinatra this a little bit. There we go. All right. Now I got to be careful pulling out of here because this place is slammed. This movie theater is completely backed up, and that should give you some indication as to just how important this movie is. I mean, normally Matt and I do the Marvel movies on a Sunday because, you know, the crowds are a little lighter, especially first showing. Nope. Slammed lines. I mean, so let's cut right to the chase. This is, kind of like with my Star Wars reviews, this one is coming out a little later. Everyone's probably seen the movie already. They've heard the other reviewers, so, there's not a lot you don't already know about it. So let's just cut right to the chase. Is it as good as people are making it out to be? And the answer is hell yes, it is. Now, I've heard some reviewers say this is like the best Marvel movie since the Avengers, and I wouldn't go that far. This definitely is one of the best first introduction films that we've had in a long time. If you remember back when I was doing the year-end stuff, and I was talking about Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy, that, the sequels haven't quite captured that new franchise smell. They're all kind of, they kind of fall into a pattern, which is serviceable, but none of them really capture the epicness of those first round Marvel films, of seeing Iron Man for the first time, of seeing Captain America for the first time, of seeing Thor for the first time, or being teased about them. You don't quite have that energy in these movies as much anymore. Maybe because they've been around for 10 years, or because they're getting into the, the lesser known characters. But this one completely blows that theory away, because, this film feels epic. It feels like a big deal. And it is a big deal. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's be completely honest about this. This is a movie that we have needed, that the world has needed, and that the African American community has deserved for a really long time. I was thinking about it before coming and seeing this movie. You know how many superhero movies there have been with, black or African American protagonists? Spawn, Steel, Hancock, Meteor Man, and Blank Man. And if you haven't heard of half of those, there's a good reason. All of them suck. All right? And this movie, I think, delivers a need that I don't think a lot of people realized we were in need of. And it does it well and never panders. That's the thing. It would have been so easy for this film to pander. But it never takes the easy way. It never takes, just gets up on a soapbox. It never feels like it's, talking down to you. It's a great movie, And what I'm really excited about is seeing how obviously successful this thing is shattering records. But seeing how successful it is, what I'm hoping is that this means big things for the folks that were involved in it, because I think everybody involved in this movie deserves that brass ring. You know, Chadwick Boseman proves himself, you know, a great leading man. All right, we already kind of saw that in Captain America, in Civil War, but here it's, you know, he really goes for and shows that he can hold up a film. Michael B. Jordan shows what a lot of us who saw Creed have already known, is that this guy is a legitimate star. Killmonger, I think the villain Michael B. Jordan plays, I think he could have done with a little bit more screen time, and it was a long movie too. So I think he could do with a little bit more screen time. But even in the little that he had, he did so much with it, and they did so much with his character, making him one of the more interesting Marvel villains. You know, one criticism people have of the Marvel films is that, you know, their villains are forgettable, or, you know, aren't as, you know, up there as the DC villains or anything like that. Which I've often defended as saying the movie is about the hero. It's, you know, that you're not supposed to, you know, the villain is just supposed to be there to be an obstacle. But they really did a great job with him, and giving him a three-dimensional kind of background and a understandable motivation and all that. And Michael B. Jordan is just a really great actor, and he plays the hell out of it. I'm not as familiar with a lot of the women in the film. I don't know a lot of their work. I know one of them's an Oscar winner. One of them won the Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. I believe the young lady who plays the Black Panther's girlfriend. They all do a magnificent job. The general of his guard, his little sister. I'm not using their names simply because I was reading the credits and I'm really scared I'm going to mispronounce them, and I don't want to do that. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to, you know, kind of shove them to the side and not use real names or character names. But I also don't want to be disrespectful. So the general was awesome. The general was a great character. His little sister was phenomenal. I really liked her, and she had a lot of energy, and, you know, I don't know, there's a great screen presence. His girlfriend was good. The thing is, I think of all the characters, she was the one they could have cut out, and the film would have been just as strong. You know, I feel like her character, she wasn't bad, and the actor was phenomenal, but I felt like her character was the most underdeveloped, and the one that in a screenplay and a film that is really loaded with information and new things and locations and stories and backstories and cultures and all this stuff, I think getting rid of that character would have given some of this other stuff a little bit more chance to breathe. You know, and again, not saying anything about the actor or the performance or the character itself. The character is not bad. It's just the character isn't as developed and kind of redundant. But still, good. The guy I want to see mostly get something out of this is the director, Ryan Coogler, who directed Creed. And this guy has... I was looking at IMDb the other day, and he only has 8 movies to his credit. And this is what you do? Creed and Black Panther are what you can do when you've only made 8 films? My mind is blown at what this guy is going to be able to do in 10, 15 years when he's got more experience under his belt. I mean, this kid, and I say kid because he's a young man, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful again. And, you know, I'm almost 40, you know, he's in his 20s. But this guy is he has got an awesome directorial eye. He has a style that is uniquely his. He has a storytelling method that is rich, you know, and it's come to the point, again, only 8 films, I've only seen 2 of them, but it's gotten to a point where if I see his name on a film, I'm going to go see it. You know, I have that much respect for him as an artist and a filmmaker. I mean, consider this about this guy, about Ryan Coolidge, is that, all right, Rocky. Rocky is Sylvester Stallone's baby. That is his masterpiece. That is his legacy, more than anything else he's done. It's the part that is most uniquely his. He wrote all of them. He starred in all of them. He directed most of them. I think he directed all of them but 1 and 2, and he might have directed 2 now that I think about it, but I can't really remember. And he, so in other words, this is a property that this actor and this talent has, kept to himself and kept very close guard over. And he handed those keys over to this young man. And that should tell you something. That should tell you something right there. And if I was Disney, because of course the Disney Corporation, especially their Marvel Studios arm, needs me to tell them how to make money and how to, run their business, because obviously they're hurting. But if I was Disney, there are 3 things I would do right now after, seeing the box office on this thing, seeing the audience reaction, the critical reaction. 3 things need to get done. Number 1, you need to sign Ryan Coolidge to the sequel ASAP. That should have been the first thing you did Wednesday morning. Number 2, get him behind the wheel of one of your Star Wars movies. I want to see what he can do when he has that kind of toolbox to play with. Either one of the upcoming, series films or one of the spin-off movies, whatever, get him behind the wheel of it. And then you give him whatever money he wants for whatever passion project he's got. And let him go. This guy is going to be the next Spielberg. I honestly believe that. Again, he's this damn good this freaking early. God knows what's going to happen in a couple years. So anyway, I'm drooling all over all these people. I haven't really talked about the movie. I don't know really where to start with it. It's just really well connected. A little bit of Hamlet going on, a little bit of Lion King, a little bit of, standard Marvel stuff. All the action scenes are really creative and great. They do a really cool stuff with the car chase that you see in the trailers, and like how they actually pull that off is really cool. Boy, and just the attention to detail in it. The creating of not just one culture of Wakanda itself, but of the various cultures that make it up. I mean, there is some brilliance going on in there on every level, not just the directorial and the writing level. The costume design in this is freaking astonishing. I love the costumes, and not just the superhero outfits, but like the Wakandan costumes. Everything about them is so detailed, and you can tell kind of different people's cultures and what tribe they belong to, and they're and I think that's especially difficult. I think we have to address the elephant in the room here a little bit. Do you know how difficult that is when you're taking a character like this, created when he was, by the people he was? Okay, I'm not saying anything, but let's be honest. Black Panther was created by 2 white guys. I mean, this is not... So it's 2 white guys' view of black people in the 70s. Or 60s. I forget when he debuted. And I do believe with the best of intentions. I believe he was created with the best of intentions and all that. But, I mean... Okay, let's use this as an example. One of the villains I know that Black Panther had that comes is the character Man-Ape, which is literally a black guy's head on an ape body. Now, that's touchy for a lot of reasons. All right. that character or a version of him is in this movie. But instead of being a black guy with the body of an ape, he's the leader of one of the tribes that make up Wakanda, whereas the main tribe worships, the Panther god. They worship the ape god. They worship the gorilla. So their masks are gorillas. They're fur, they wear fur costumes. I mean, so to take something that was created then, and again, I believe created with the best of intentions, and translating it to now in 2018 and having it not be offensive in any way, I think took some master strokes on every creative level. And in my opinion, a white man's opinion, you can take that for whatever it's worth, I think they nailed it. And judging by the reactions of other people in the audience of every color, I think a lot of people would agree with me that this film really did an amazing job adapting something that is kind of hard to adapt. So visually, it's striking. Some of the CGI is a little not as fluid as I would like. But that's neither here nor there. It's a comic book movie. There's always going to be CGI, and there's always going to be CGI that doesn't work. Really, I can't think of anything to really bash this movie about, or to say, well, again, I think, they could have eliminated his girlfriend as a character and maybe brought her into a sequel, because, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a sequel. I'm pretty positive. They could have done that. Maybe just tighten it up a little bit, because it was a little long, but again, it was very enjoyable. The only problem I had with it being long is my, theater seat was really uncomfortable. Boy, I will tell you though, poor Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker does not fare well in these Disney films. Between this one, I mean, he lasted longer in this one than he did in Rogue One, but still, I mean, he did not. Angela Bassett's in it, and is frickin' Angela Bassett. She's regal and all this. The other thing I'm going to say, and this is not just about this movie, it's kind of about the Marvel films in general. And this is kind of all movies, all comic movies. They do have this thing about killing their main villains, and it's like, I kind of wish they wouldn't do that, because some of these villains, well, yeah, they're good for a one-off. Whiplash is good for a one-off. But a lot of them, like Crossbones in the Captain America films, both Killmonger and the Claw here, I mean, these are characters you could do so much more with, and could, send them to other places and do more things with. And you're kind of like, man, I wish they do like they did with Loki with a lot of these, and keep some of these guys around and let them, spread out and stretch their arms a little bit. Maybe, it would have been cool to see Killmonger show up and fight Captain America or something like that. It would have been, but that's just me. That's not a diss on this movie. It's a diss just kind of on comic book movies in general. I got nothing really else on this one, folks. I can't badmouth it. You feel weird doing a review that's just kind of all great, because you feel like you're kind of jumping on the bandwagon. You're like, oh, there's got to be something. No movie's perfect. And I'm not saying this movie's perfect, but I'm saying it carries itself off like an epic. It feels like an epic. It looks, sounds, and has the overall just feel of a film that's really good and important. And I can't debate that. It lives up to it. It holds up. I feel the same way about this one as I did, like I say, when I watched Iron Man for the first time, or when I watched Captain America or Thor, or when I watched Sam Raimi's Spider-Man for the first time. That feeling that you're sitting there going, I'm watching something important right now. Beyond, is this a good movie? Is this a bad movie? This is important. I got that feeling a little bit from Wonder Woman. I feel this one pulls it off better. And I think the only reason it pulls it off better is because I think it has the Marvel brand attached to it, which has worked itself out to such a point that, you know, it runs like a well-oiled machine. I think Wonder Woman was still as good a film as it was, and again, I'm not saying it was a bad movie, just wasn't my cup of tea. But Wonder Woman was still living under the kind of yoke of the DC films. So it had that to contest, but still, like, that scene of her going through no man's land had that feeling of, I'm watching something very important. So final grade for Black Panther, no surprise, this is an A. This is an A+ with me. I really enjoyed it. I think it was everything it should have been, everything it could have been, and then more. Great job all around. And I think if you love comic movies, if you love movies, you like action movies, go see this. And you know, judging by the box office, judging by the attendance at the movie theater, you already have. You don't need me to tell you to go do it. You've already hit it. And boy, howdy, does it finally feel good to see a good movie again. God almighty, it's been a long road. So yeah, Black Panther definitely lives up to that. So thank you for joining me. I'm planning on hitting the movies one more time for birthday week. So until then, drive safe, and I'll see you at the movies.